What's going on, everyone? This is Chris G, and I wanted to talk about this particular situation. It happened not too long back, but finally had a chance to get my take on it, and I just wanted to talk about the that warehouse fire that happened back on April 7th. I believe it was April 7th of 2026, where the warehouse for I think it was like a toilet paper, I think diapers distribution center ended up being burned down by a gentleman. His first name is I think his name is Shamel, and I'm not going to try to pronounce the last name, but it starts with an A. And basically that building just went up in flames. It was a really bad fire. A lot of damage took place. I think it might even be damage that's high up. I think even like the $1 million range, if not higher. A lot of damage, a costly damage to that place. Thankfully, no one was hurt. And this happened in Ontario, California, if I read about it correctly. I believe Ontario is in Southern California. And this situation really hit me pretty hard because I was just like, damn, man, this dude, really was just upset to the point where he just thought it was okay to burn down that facility, And I think I remember reading something about him posting like video stuff online, I think on TikTok or Instagram, something like that. I think it was TikTok. But anyway, some type of social media talking about him setting that place on fire. And I believe he was also, talking about how he was really upset that he wasn't getting paid well at the job. So he went on ahead and did what he did. Now he's, he had been arrested. Now he's looking at, solid, felony charges, man, for that arson. And I know down there in California, I know one thing, they don't play about that arson. Arson is very serious out there, because there's a lot of things, not only just with buildings, but I know out in the wildlife areas and stuff like that, you setting stuff on fire, like trees, brush, vegetation stuff can catch on fire real bad out there, so I know California, they take arson very serious, but I just wanted to talk about this because, I really think the decision that he made to set that place on fire, I just really think it was bad, man. I really do think it was bad. I do understand that the gentleman was going through some tough times financially. I know a lot of people are. Some people are having to work a regular job, and then some people are having to do side hustle jobs like DoorDash, Instacart, things like that. Some people are, probably, people, doing dog walking or, dog grooming services on the side, washing dogs, doing, Uber, driving for Uber, people doing that to try to get some more money on the side to help out through these tough, economic times, tough financial times for a lot of people. But I really wish that, if he was really so upset about that job, I wish he would have just went on ahead and resigned and just left the job and just go to another job, or at least, try to be in pursuit of getting another job so you can try to transition off into another job and leave the one that you're at. I really wish he would have did that because, by him setting that place on fire, it's like, dude, you didn't only just put yourself out of a job at that place, you put other people out of jobs at that you put other people at that job, out of a job at that facility as well. You understand? And there's people that probably were heavily relying on their job in order to make it. There may have been some people that were looking to try to transition if they were able to get set up with another job, transition and go do something else. There probably was people trying to do it. And there might have been people that were just like, hey, look, I'm going to be in this thing for the long haul, and I'm just going to try to make the best of this job and do what I could do. Some, people might have actually really did like to work there, even though the pay might have not been really high in people's eyes. They might have still really had liked to work there. you do have situations like that where one person don't like to work there, but then somebody else does. And, I just really wish he would have just said quit. Now he's looking at these charges, and I'm quite sure he's going to do some pretty, solid time for this, man. And, I can remember back, when I was younger, back in the day, trust me, there were jobs that I was at where, management didn't want me there. I mean, maybe they thought I wasn't, working up to a high standard, and they wanted to just, go and let me go. Not that I was lazy, but maybe I just wasn't producing fast enough for something, so, my services were no longer needed, And, I also had situation type stuff where I just was like, hey, look, I just don't want to work here no more. And I myself stepped away from that job and left, for whatever reason that it was, you know what I'm saying? But I took it upon myself to leave and not do no type of crazy stuff at the facility that could have put people in danger, or could have did some heavy destruction to property, and I just really wish he would have did that. And I just wanted to, just do the video about this stuff. It was for anybody that listens to this video, it's if you really are not happy, at the job that you're at, try your very, very best, really deep, just try to really dig down deep and try to find yourself another job. I know it's tough to find, certain jobs that you really would like to have, maybe your perfect dream job, but try to see if you can find something that you can see yourself dealing with for a pretty good, decent amount of time. You know what I'm saying? Try to look for something like that, or maybe, try to see if you could possibly find a way to where you could maybe work at home. You know what I'm saying? Just really try your best to find something else, man. It might be a job that might pay maybe, a couple dollars less, few dollars less. Now at that point you got to dig real deep in your mind and in your heart, thinking, okay, is this going to be worth me going to that job? Because I do know, finances are a big deal to a lot of people. But just really sit back and think about these things, because, you don't want to put other people in danger at the job, because you upset. And so now you're just I'm just going to just destroy this, and I don't give a damn about nobody else, So I just want people to think about that. And so, my main thing is, what he did was wrong, but also too, if you don't like a job, just go ahead and just leave the job, bro. Just leave and just, try your best to find another job so you can be able to support yourself. All right. So that's all I got to say. This is Chris G. If you like what you hear, don't forget to hit the like button. And don't forget to, share and subscribe. All right. Peace.